Hello and welcome to a brand new season of Australia's Best Houses. We've lifted the bar and flown open the doors to the best houses in this nation. Today we kick off the brand new season with 4 remarkable homes that will absolutely blow your mind. I'm Gary Takel, architectural commentator, and I'm on a quest to discover Australia's best house. We start the show with a revelation of art as accommodation. If Australia's best house is about place, then this home has the title sewn up. If it was possible for a house to tell stories, this historic mansion in Bowral could fill a book. And if you think you've seen the best in Australia, then think again. We're going to reveal this house at the climax of today's show. This house could be Australia's best. We kick off the show in arty Melbourne, and this home is located in the perfect place. Black Rock, only a stone's throw away from the beach. This is a home where art meets accommodation. Designed by Sarge Design, it's a house that captures the spirit of modernist retro and has a unique character in a house I've never encountered before. We catch up with architect Andrew Bartholomew's. Andrew, great to see you. I've been following your work for years and absolutely love what you do. And this home is going to be amazing, I can tell it already. So what are we going to see today?
There's going to be some fantastic things to show you. There's a great living space that's really private, and really want to sort of show you the sculpture nature of this house. And lots of curves. And
There's lots of curves. Why curves?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you about that later on. So.
Okay, without any further ado, let's go. Andrew, you have a really different approach to architecture, which is evident.
Yes, yes.
And this home, I mean, what sort of era are we talking about here? Is it mimicking another era? Or?
Oh, look, I think it's paying homage to the sort of 50s modernist sort of style houses, which this area's got some fantastic examples for, and it's something that we, proved an inspiration for us. It's a relatively small plot, 500 square metres.
Yep.
But it's got this positioning and orientation where we're facing to the north, and we've really tried to utilise as much of that into the house.
All windows along here.
And even the roof shapes are actually almost acting like a large sundial, so that you can sort of see the sun, and it creates these beautiful sculptural shapes on the floor as the sun moves around during the day.
Okay. So is that a hint of why you use circles, is it?
There's lots of reasons that we've used in this particular project. Probably our starting point might be the greater surrounding areas, and we are very close here to the Royal Melbourne Golf Course, and we've used that as a primary source of inspiration. Being a bayside suburb, we're close to the sea, so there's sort of... You start thinking about those sorts of things and the two blend into each other. So there's sort of ideas of fluidity and sort of like curves and sails, and all of those sorts of things seem to sort of blend into each other.
I love what you do, I really do, Andrew, and I love how, that you break the mould, especially when it comes to using circular.
Well, we're trying to, let people sort of see something different and experience something different and sort of challenge the way that they might live. And we think curves are a lot softer and a little bit more organic and perhaps greater relationship to nature.
All right, let's get a look at the side of the house and really explore these shapes and these angles.
Brilliant, let's do it.
Creating circles on site in a straight building, working with straight materials, provides its own challenges. It's like anything that you do in any job, you have to plan it well in advance to get everything to work properly.
I'm so glad we had a look at the house from this angle, because you really appreciate the angles and the circles that's going on there.
There's a lot of theatre going on at this part of the house.
There is.
There's a sort of like a perspectidal sort of thing going on where it all converges at this point, and I guess it being the TV room makes a bit of sense. It's like a mini cinema. This raking ceiling then moves all the way back to the entry foyer where we were, and then you can see the curves here really sort of scallop around and unravel. It's completely encompassing the living spaces, the kitchen spaces and the dining spaces, and the outdoor spaces and the pool. So it's just this sort of seamless morphing of indoor and outdoor. This house is very much designed around its northern orientation, and what we've tried to do is capture it through all these large window walls and have a series of roofs that overhang those window walls to provide shade in the summer but allow the winter sun to come in. But upstairs, what we've produced is a horizontal highlight window. It's continuous. And it's like a tear between the bottom of the upper level building form and the roof itself, almost like a tin that's opening up.
Yeah.
And so what that does is that allows us to have all of this great northern light that comes through into that upper level space and then filtered down through our double volume entry foyer, and then actually get this wonderful daylight that's almost on the southern side of the house.
Well, mate, I guess what people really want to know now is, can they have a house like this, and what's it going to cost?
Well, for a house like this, for construction, you're probably looking at in the order of around about $1.2 million.
You've been awesome today. Thank you so much, Andrew. Had a great time.
Excellent. Thanks, Gary.
No worries. If Australia's best house is about place, then this home has the title sewn up. Coming up after the break. Well, if Australia's best house is about place, then this home has the title sewn up. It's situated in fantastic Hideaway Bay in Australia's world-famous Whitsundays. The area is the most popular yachting destination in the Southern Hemisphere. The place is paradise. We catch up with the friendly owners of Heaven's Gate Luxury House in Paradise. Well, just coming down that beautiful road on the way in, I mean, this could be Australia's most idyllic place to put Australia's best beach house. I mean, do you reckon this could be it?
We do. We do, yes. Yeah. It's a beautiful large house right on the beach. No public access between the house and the beach. Privacy, we've got 75 acres. You can't buy that.
Yeah.
We're very fortunate.
And you've got a tennis court?
Yes.
You've got a helicopter pad?
Yes.
You've got a gym?
Cinema.
Caretaker's residence?
Yes.
Well, let's take the tour.
Please come inside.
Thank you so much. Well, I can see now why you think it's Australia's best beach house. That view is absolutely incredible. Looking over the pool and just seeing the ocean in the background is absolutely stunning.
We are very lucky indeed, yeah. To have private between the house and the sea is very unusual.
Yeah.
There's usually a road or public access there. We haven't. And we've got 75 acres, so we've got privacy all the way around.
Amazing.
To be the best beach house, it needs to have a lot of privacy.
Yep.
You know, several hundred metres either side with woods, so that you can't be seen, you can't be heard. You need tranquil coastline as well, and we're very lucky with the hills behind. The prevailing winds blow over the top and they land out in the middle of the bay over there.
Okay.
So this bit, we very rarely get any significant waves.
And this time of year, the water is absolutely a beautiful temperature as well.
Yeah, it is. It's lovely and warm. We get a lot of fish, we get dugong, we get the whales in the season. Turtles nest on our beaches.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
People say to us sometimes, do you ever tire of the same view? But we never, ever tire of it. We just love it and enjoy it every moment, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, I could get used to living here, I can tell you that. Now, another thing is you're very private here, but you're not isolated.
No. We've got 2 restaurants which are 4 kilometres the furthest one away.
Yep.
We do fantastic food, fantastic people. So we actually have got good eating places that we can go to.
Yeah. How did you find the house?
Well, we watched it being built,
Okay.
and we realised what a fantastic spot it was. And so, you know, when it came up for sale from the builder, then, yeah, we bought it.
You've got 75 acres.
Yes.
So the hinterland in here is yours as well.
Yes.
So have you been up to the top of that mountain?
Oh, yes, we've been up to the top of the mountain.
No,
Probably the
you
only
have.
person who's ever climbed it.
Wow, incredible. And it's called Mount Bishop now.
It is indeed, yes.
What's the view like up there?
Oh, beautiful. I mean, on a clear day here, from sea level, you can see the hills which are 50, 60 kilometres away. Up there, you can probably see for 100 kilometres.
Did you have a boat?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we have a boat, yes. Down in Sydney, but it's a big racing boat called
Okay.
Merit.
Is that right?
Yes, it actually won the Sydney to Hobart one year.
You're kidding me?
Oh, Division 1 anyway, yes,
Yeah. Oh, congratulations. That's amazing. And this is the perfect place, probably one of the best places in the world.
Oh, it's a
here
lovely
probably,
sound.
and the Greek islands, they say, are
Yes.
the best places to do boating. Because you've got so many islands to explore here on the Whitsundays.
We're very fortunate indeed. It's the most beautiful part of Australia, and this is the most beautiful part of the Whitsundays.
So it's a very sustainable and eco kind of house here.
Yes,
Is it
indeed.
on the grid?
It is on the grid, but we don't need it. We've got 56 solar panels on the roof, which generate 10 kilowatts of electricity.
Wow.
We've got our own water supply, our own sewage system. We are totally independent.
Yeah, it's just absolutely fantastic. So the helicopter pad.
Yes.
What a great way to get in and out of here. I mean, there's road access, and you
Yes.
only got 45 minutes to Proserpine,
Yes, indeed.
which
And
is a
Early
full
Beach.
commercial
Yes.
airport. And Early Beach is
35 minutes away.
fantastic. And then if you want to go by helicopter, it's like 10.
10 minutes, yes, yeah. Or by seaplane.
Well, that's the thing about this position of this house is you actually get sunset over water on the east coast,
Yes,
which is almost impossible.
Yeah, the whole coastline turns 180 degrees,
Okay.
so we watch the sunset every night of the year, living on the east coast, yeah.
Now, the interesting thing about this home is you can actually purchase it. It's actually for sale.
Yes.
So what's the asking price and what's included?
10 million, and with that, you get the house, you get a piece of paradise you cannot buy anywhere else in the world. And you've got 75 acres of land.
And a forest as well, which
Yeah,
is just
yeah.
beautiful. Well, you guys have been absolutely fantastic today. Thanks for showing us around. Cheers.
Cheers. You're very welcome, Gary. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
If a house could tell stories, this historic mansion in Bowral could fill a book. Coming up after the break. This home will be a delight for those who love heritage, class and glamour. The Rift is an historic mansion in beautiful Bowral, which is about an hour and 20 minutes drive south of Sydney. In a past era, Bowral has served as a rural retreat for the elite gentry of Sydney, resulting in the establishment of many historic estates and manor houses in the district, this being one of the finest. We meet the owner, Kincham, as she shows us around. Thank you so much, Kincham, for allowing us to come into your beautiful home today. So what's the story here? How did you find it?
I was just looking at the real estate pages, one of my favourite things to do, saw that the house was available, so I thought I'd just do a drive-by, do a bit of a snoop. I drove in and the front door was open. So I thought, it's an invitation to go in. So I wandered in. It was quite dilapidated. It had been abandoned for about 5 years, but the bones of the house were amazing, and I was so sad to see it unloved, and I just fell in love with it.
I'm really, really keen to have a look. Can we have a look?
Please do.
Okay,
You're welcome. Come
after
in.
you. This is a very special project, a very special house. And we haven't done one like this before. It's just an old mansion that's been totally tastefully renovated, but it's very modern as well.
Thank you. Yes, well, that was the aim, to really respect and enjoy the heritage aspect of it, but make it a really comfortable contemporary living space as well. The house was built in 1890 by Alfred Strangelitz for his wife as a gift for her. And sadly he passed away about 5 years later. But in those days, Bowral was the country playground for the socialites of Sydney. They came to Bowral to take the air and to gather with friends.
The responsibility of renovating something like this, I mean, did you feel the pressure to get it right?
I was terrified. I didn't really think through it very much when I bought it in terms of how big a job it was going to be. But the greatest part of this project was actually all the other people that were involved.
Okay.
So I really rallied the troops around me because I didn't have the expertise or the experience. And I'm a great researcher as well. So I spent a lot of time researching everything.
Two of the rooms, when we turned up, we walked into them and basically stepped into a greenhouse. There was ferns growing out of the floor. There was grass growing out of the floor. We just said to each other, what is going on here? And to bring that back to what it is now, you would not believe what we walked into originally. As we developed a relationship with Kincham, we realised that keeping the old aspect of the house really works and looks fantastic in the final product.
I mean, there's so much story here, isn't there? I mean,
There is.
Even down to the tiles here in the kitchen.
The tiles in the kitchen are Villeroy and Bosch 1870 Matlack tiles, and they're actually identical to the tiles that were on the first-class bathrooms and in the pool on the Titanic. And how I found that out was I was at a Relics of the Titanic exhibition, and my husband said, come and look at this, and there were our identical tiles there.
To find that out after we've been working with them already for so long, and you take a whole new appreciation for what the house is really about. There was a lot of bedrooms and rooms that had lower ceilings put in them. When we pulled them out, we found just airspace, and it was like, why have they just enclosed the room so much? It's fantastic with such high ceilings. So all the ceilings, just those little finds, made the house so much better in the end.
Well, when you arrive on that platform upstairs, I mean, my goodness, the skylight is absolutely exquisite in detail.
Going up that staircase and seeing the skylight for the first time when I was sneaking around here on my own, I think that's why I really fell in love with the house, because the skylight was so spectacular and it's such a classic Victorian feature.
The brief had been from Kitcham that she wanted to repurpose as much furniture as possible, and then anything else needed to be sourced from suppliers of pre-loved furniture. So we sort of wondered where on earth we were going to start, but it really was a day of walking around the house and intuitively picking pieces and pulling it all together. There are a number of really, really special rooms because all the pieces that we sourced had a special story, and either they had a special story or already the pieces that we'd repurposed were very special to the family.
And this house is full of stories, and I think finding people to work with who were sympathetic to that and who were intuitive enough to tune into that was really fabulous. And so working with the right specialists, designers, painters, and other people on the building team who were really empathetic with the journey that we were on. Yeah. And it really was a journey that we were all on together, and we were together for a while. It took over a year of pretty well being on site every day. Even to this day, barely a week goes by without somebody knocking on the door and saying, my grandfather was born in this house, or I lived here when I was at boarding school. So many people have actually come and said, we're so happy that you've renovated and restored the house because we've had such happy memories of it. I call it a shared history.
The houses on today's show have been pretty special, but let me say the house coming up after the break could be Australia's best. Please do not miss this. Bellevue Hill is an eastern suburb of Sydney. It's best known for being one of Sydney's wealthiest, located 5 kilometres east of the Sydney CBD. The house we're about to show you is an icon in the area. With its steep castle-like facade, it's reminiscent of a home you'd expect to see in a James Bond movie. As you can see, the new section of the home has been cut into the side of a hill. The original home is set atop of the hill where the harbour views can be appreciated. We meet building extraordinaire Elvis Mardini in the chiselled out entrance tunnel leading to the glass elevator. This could be Australia's best house. I mean that. Like, it is absolutely stunning. Are we on the set of a James Bond movie here?
Well, first of all, I believe it's Australia's best house. Oh. And yes, you are on a James Bond movie starring Elvis Mardini.
Let's check it out.
Let's go check it out.
We realised pretty much straight away that the key to the planning of the whole project was the position of the lift. We needed to minimise the amount of excavation involved in locating the lift, but also find a position for it where it wasn't going to affect the view of the neighbour on the south side. So the lift was the key to everything, and from that everything else kind of fell into place. We could put a new external stair up the north side of the block, and the client's idea of putting a lap pool across the top of the new garage was actually going to fit, and we could get an 18-metre pool across here, and the planning kind of fell into place as a result of that quite neatly.
To produce something like this, Elvis, to carve into a cliff, how many metres did you have to carve into it?
The top of the cliff face was 22 metres above street level. That was completely carved down from the top down to the garage level. In total was 2,500 tonnes of rock. That Amazing. Was sawn cut, and a lot of it was actually reproduced to clad the house. And then a lot of it that was actually really good quality was hand carved, as you can see, by one of our stonemasons who just chipped away with a pick and a chisel. It was simple as that. I guess the biggest problem with a house like this, it's the fatigue. Yeah, you got your aches and pains, you're weary, you're mentally exhausted, you're physically exhausted.
I mean, the only way to get in was through the stairs.
Through the stairs. We had no crane here, we had no lift.
Oh my
the lift was only commissioned when the owners moved in.
Wow.
So everything had to be lugged up by hand.
With your own finger that you produced this house, you've engraved into the...
Our stamp, yeah.
The stamp at the front of the house.
It was actually the owner's idea. He said to me when we finished, he said, Elvis, do you know what I want you to do from now on? He said, all your work is arts. So I want you to make a stamp and stamp it in the concrete so people recognise that it was your effort.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what, I'm going to go one step further. I'm actually going to write it in myself, my own hands, because I built this house in my hands, and I'm going to write, built by Mardini Constructions, and the year it was built with my hands as well.
This house is an absolute credit to you as a builder. It's just absolutely amazing. It's won awards.
It's won many awards. We've won Australian, New South Wales Renovation and Building of the Year. We've been included on the Historic Houses Tour, which was an enormous honour for me. With the Historic Houses Tour, it basically includes the Opera House, the Harbour Bridge, you've got the museum, you've got Elizabeth Bay House, all the iconic landmarks, and, and this was included on the tour, which to me was really one of the biggest compliments of my life, because it shows that what we did was recognised, most important thing, and we achieved what we needed to achieve. Yeah. And people fell in love with this house.
Well, it was an interesting house because it had very good bones. The structure of the house was fantastic, really. But it had, in the 60s, had a very big makeover, and lots of the original features had been removed.
I started to look around the house and see what elements were existing and what existed of the old house. And then I decided to work with those particular elements or patterns or whatever they were and develop that through the house. The way I approach design is actually you have to approach it about the building itself. So you don't necessarily go and impose what you think is the right design. You have to think about what the property offers. And in this case, we had something which was a wonderful old house, which is really, I think, worth preserving and worth restoring, which is what we did. But really all the sort of vertical integration down to the garage and everything could be totally new. And there was no point making that a historical thing at all. It had absolutely no reference to the house. It's all new. And I think the combination of the two elements are, one is a reflection of the restoration of the house and the other one is actually about the mechanical access through from the street up to the house itself.
Working with Donald and with Elvis, the key to the whole project was the way that the landscape would actually stitch together the old building and all of the new work. And coming back here, having finished the house sort of a year and a half ago, seeing it on a day like today and seeing how fantastic all these plants look as they start to actually take over the structure and soften all of these kind of hardline building forms that we created. You know, the original vision that we had for the project's really kind of come through, and it's just looking terrific, and it's going to improve with age.
The thing about a house like this is there's so many stories that are captured here. You know, there's generations, 100 years of people who've lived here.
There's a lot of history to this house.
And amazing stories can be told through these walls.
It just creates conversation in this house.
Yeah.
That's for me what it's all about. So when people are talking about your house, then I guess you've done something right, haven't you?
You've done an amazing job here, so thank you so much for showing us through.
Thank you.
Had a fantastic time.
More than welcome.
Well, that's all we've got time for today. If you have a project you think might suit the show, then go to our website besthouses.com.au and send us some pics. Thanks for being part of the show. We'll see you next time.